So, when we go to Canvas, for those of you who weren't paying attention, if my Canvas ever loads, inside of our classroom, you will see the beginning of our new adventure game. So we're going to work on the environment today. So when you click this link, it's going to take you to a folder to download Unity Fundamentals M3 and M4. Now, there are a bunch of these inside this package that we'll be using over the next 4 weeks. If you put more than M3 and M4 in, you're going to have problems, because after M4 you're going to start seeing scripts. And the scripts are not complete, meaning we're going to finish the scripts. So if you start putting these in before I tell you, you're going to have problems. In order to build out your environment, all you need is M3 and M4. Make sure you pay attention to where you download these. So if I right-click this and choose Download, most of the time it's going to download wherever the last place I downloaded. In Chrome, there is a folder for downloads. It should have popped up here. Of course, it probably isn't going to let me download it because I'm the original owner. But download it to, there we go, the second time worked. So if you click this little arrow, it will tell you where you downloaded it. So you can click Show in Folder, and now I know, oh, it's in my downloads. That's where it was downloaded, or is being downloaded. There it is right there. So make sure you keep track of where you download, because we're going to import those later. So we're going to create a new project in Unity, and you don't have to name it Adventure Game. You can just use ADV Game. Make sure you know where you're putting it. It needs to be 3D, obviously, and enable Unity Analytics so you can push it up to your cloud. I'm going to name mine Period 3, because this is Period 3, and I've already done one last period, and I'm going to click Create. Okay, once you've downloaded the two files, all you have to do is import them. Make sure you do 3 before you do 4. So M3 first. So you just right-click Assets, Import Package, and choose Custom. And then you just have to find the file. So for me, I have the original location. So there's 3. 3 will import rather quickly. 4 will take some time because it is a very large file. It's actually 500 megs. It's half a gig of assets. So once 3 imports, then you import 4. So you're supposed to have downloaded 3 and 4. M3 and M4 should have been downloaded. So after you've downloaded M3 and M4, and you've imported M3, you'll see that you have a few folders. Then you're going to import M4, and that one is going to take a while. Really? Weren't you supposed to be being quiet? This is going to be a night scene, so you're really not going to see anything beyond it anyway. And the way we're going to set our camera is going to be on top of our character. So These things are going to be outside the perimeter. They're just going to give depth to our scene. So it doesn't really matter what's beyond them. Two things I will suggest is one is to create an empty folder. And I would just call it rocks, and I would stick all the rocks in there. So as you duplicate them, what happened here? Oops, did I put rocks inside rock? Yeah, I did. So as you duplicate them, you can zip it up and not have to see, 15 rocks running down your screen. So now when I go in here and I choose one and I hit Control D, it stays inside this and allows me to go over and do a rotation on it. And then if you're going to do some transforming of the ground, I wouldn't suggest a lot. I would possibly do some around the edges to make it look a little bit more natural. So maybe, oops, that was way too much. So maybe use a 3 and go around the rock edges and maybe raise some of it up and then smooth it out, so it looks a little bit more natural. And then in prefabs, there's lots of things you can use. I wouldn't use too many of them. They're primarily for when we build our environment. So things that you might want to use are maybe like the wood planks, a pillar, maybe the flooring, and I'll show you some examples of that as I build mine out. The two things that you need to put in are the battle dummy, and then you need to put our hero, who if you type in dwarf, you'll get the prefab for. So yep, there's our dwarf hero. So we want to put him in to give you a scale. So when you're building things, you get a scale representation. Now when I go over to game, you see my game view with my camera. I can always check it. And that gives me an idea of what my game's going to look like. So that kind of looks natural. Once I fill it out, hopefully it'll look a little better. That's what we'll be doing for the next